Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? So nice to see you guys. I see that a lot of people are already in the chat. I see, oh my gosh, I see Sasha, I see Aaron, I see Royce, I see Moloro, I see all of the people. Hi, guys. Good morning. I hope you are doing well. Good afternoon, good evening. I'm joined by my fellow colleague and a super duper creator, August. Hi.
Hey, welcome everyone.
How's your weekend, August? Did you do anything fun?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I went on the boat, the Queen Mary. It's like a super haunted boat, and we saw some crazy stuff. Also, went
What?
to the
That's insane. A
and I
super
also
active boat?
yeah. Yeah, that's just I usually do stuff like that on the weekends all the time.
Yeah, it's just what I do on the side, like just casually. I go explore haunted boats. Okay, now
Yeah,
tell us, did you experience any supernatural phenomenon or haunted things while you're on the tour?
I did see this one really tall, skinny guy in a really overly long suit, and he looked like if I've ever seen a ghost, that guy was a ghost.
That is actually insane.
He even had a little top hat. Yeah.
I used to believe in ghosts, but then in this Korean science channel, somebody came out and explained how logistically it is so hard for ghosts to exist because of gravity. Because ghosts are floating, it means that they're not affected by gravity. But also, Earth rotates around itself so fast that in order for this ghost to stay afloat in the same location, it must have a way to anchor itself or not. But since they don't have gravity, they can't anchor themselves to the earth. So if the ghost were to stay in the same place as you and I think they are, they have to be running so hard to stay in the same place. After I heard that, I was like, okay.
I think about this all the time, especially since like the Earth and our entire solar system is like moving at like super fast speeds. They would be somewhere out in space.
Our,
And that's
we gotta change the title of this stream to Celine and August's conspiracy theories, and then we just come out and talk about Bermuda Triangle, the Illuminati. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Should we do that? But the question of the day is, what would be your weapon of choice in a zombie apocalypse? I'm feeling a very apocalyptic mode because I just started watching this new TV series on Netflix. It's called Manifest, and basically the premise is two groups of people ride in a plane, and the second group of people, when they land, 5 years has passed, even though they feel like they've only been in a 1 hour plane. So recently I've been thinking a lot about these scenarios, and maybe I'll make a plane effect, or I don't want to give spoilers, but something regarding to Manifest. It's giving me inspired vibes, so I'll definitely try that. Maybe we can expect a haunted one, or like a hologram or see-through effect from August. We'll see.
we'll see.
Hi guys, hi fam, hi Bruno. The first question of the day is from Cameron C in our Discord channel. They are asking out, how can I fade out a 3D plane that has an unlit material on it?
Well, let's take a look. I have Effect House open with an empty project right now. So the first thing I would do is create a new text or a new material. And you could go create an unlit material. And the biggest thing, well, I'll just set it up first and then I'll tell you the biggest pitfall that I've seen a few people make. We'll do a cube and we'll rotate it a little. I always like to rotate my cubes so you can see their angles, so you can see that it's a cube, not a square. And then put our material on there. We don't really have to do anything else. It can just be a white unlit cube. And then let's see. So you might have a texture or something where it fades out. You can pretty much just change the alpha of the color. depending on your material, if you make a custom material or something, sometimes you'll want to change the blend mode. This one pulls from the shader, but some materials you'll need to change to transparent or even alpha test. And I would just like some of these, just decide like how it will paint the one object in front of another. So if you have a lot of objects, you might want to play around with these and pick the best one that works for your scenario. But yeah, since this has from shader, which is a newer feature, it will actually automatically be transparent for this one. So if you wanted to fade out, you would just use set color with maybe a transit by time. And then you could do switch this to color, and your last color would be totally transparent. And your from color would be whatever color you want it to start as. And then on your stay, and maybe end too, you can see it'll just fade out over 0 seconds. So we'll change that to 2. There you go. Nice clean fade.
Very nice. Thank you. We have another question from Discord as well. I think this person is trying to change the variable type from number to Boolean. And also they want to change the trigger type to trigger dot dot number to trigger dot dot execute. Exec?
Is this on a subgraph input or just so
they're doing their own material?
What was that? Sorry.
Yeah, I think they didn't leave any context, but I think
Okay.
So
we'll show how to change the variable type. So just to start out, when you create a variable, it'll be called variable 0 or whichever number it is. And so you'll find it in this variables section. If you're inside of a subgraph, just in case you are and you would be confused, there's a separate section for subgraph variables. And those are variables that are linked directly to this subgraph. So you would basically just select it, or you could also, if you don't want to open up this panel and you have it in your project, you can just click it. And then when you have this details panel open, this is where you'll change the details of that variable. So you could change it to anything else, a number, color, Boolean, and then the container can be an array as well. You can do this for a lot of different values, and that way, yeah, if you like make an array, that could be useful. And yeah, this is where you would set it up.
Sounds good. We have another question from Discord. We know that you shared a keyboard template. A lot of people are trying to use it with a newer version of Effect House. If they wanted to modify your keyboard template in a way so that they can use it in the newer versions, what are some components do you think we have to change?
Well, let me open my Discord, because actually, a while back, a user asked this exact question, and I listed out all of the things to look for that you would need to change to upgrade. So let me see where I posted that, and we can check it out.
Also, I wanted to point out that in the new learning resource website, there's an area where you can easily go and download all of the files. I know that we've uploaded a lot of resources, including microjams or like sample projects, and they've been difficult to find because they're linked under like a specific documentation or sample project. But now with this new module, new feature, you can easily just go to the website and download it from there. So let me see if I can share that link to the YouTube comments as well. But we have a comment from TikTok Live. They're asking, groans from TikTok Live would like August to release more templates, please. What kind of templates are you looking for? Let us know.
There's a really good one on the way out. Keep your eyes out. It'll have my face on the GIF. So So yeah, look for that one. It's really, really great in terms of teaching best practices with visual scripting. So although everything is hidden under one big subgraph, everything is super well organized, and I really highly anybody who wants to learn visual scripting, I highly suggest that you just pick through that and pick through all the pieces.
That's
Um,
fantastic. Also, guys, tomorrow around this time, one of our interactive engineers, Melody, is coming out and giving you guys a whole rundown of the body outline template. This is an underutilized feature that I feel like has so much potential. I think she is going to come out and explain to us how you can use the template and then how you can modify the template so you can create your own effect. And I might even share a small project that I built with this template as well. So be sure to come tomorrow and we can show you guys.
nice, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I made a pretty weird body outline effect as well.
KSA Sulex is reminding everyone to like the live. Thank you, KSA. That is very nice of you. I forgot too, so you gave me a good reminder as well. Were you able to find your file, August?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight this microjam channel in the Discord. And here's a section where someone was asking this similar question, and I'll just read my response because it's pretty much complete. Uh, each character that needs to appear will have its own animated texture in the asset panel. So over here in the asset panel, you'll want to duplicate it and have a separate animated texture for each one. That's one of the main differences. The subgraphs will need to be updated to reference the new images. So you'll create basically new images, since you'll need to create fresh ones with the new 2D image features instead of the old 2D image. So you'll have to replace those references within the subgraphs. And references, just in case you're not super familiar, are anything like this where it has like a blue top. This is referencing your material down here. So it's like linked to this material. So if you created a new material, you would just have to create a new set color. That's what I mean by that. And then and then for the animation sequence players, the nodes, you would want to replace the references in there of what they're playing. And then basically the 2D, all the other 2D images that are not buttons, you'll also want to replace those. And that's all it should take. It's just that there's a lot of those images to replace. Yeah, that should be
A little tedious, but it shouldn't be too hard. But if you guys have more questions on this process, or if you run into a blocker, definitely let us know and we can help you guys. Next, I also just wanted to say that I put the link to the downloads in our YouTube comments. The link is effecthouse.tiktok.com/learn/library. And you can see that you can download all of the microjam projects there, all of the assets, all of the template tutorials, and it's linked in this library channel. So definitely go check it out. I think it is super useful. Let's see if you guys have any more questions. But in the meantime, don't forget to leave a like. Help needed in the one person quiz template. This is a question from our forum. It says, "Hello, TikTok community. I need your help with the one person quiz template. I'm looking to display different results based on the user's score. If they score 50, I want to show the score as well as the category medium. And if they score 80, I want the score along with the title legend. Any suggestions or guidance on achieving this would be greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance for your support. Best regards, Yusuf." So this person left a very nice message. So polite. I love this. Hi, Yusuf. We're here to answer your question.
Yeah, I love when people add enough context where you can fully grasp what they're trying to do. It's so helpful. So basically, we want, when the game ends, we want to be able to determine which which title to give them based on how high their score is. So the first thing I would think of is going to game end logic, because when the game ends, we'll make that sort of calculation. And so we can see here that our game end logic is just kind of setting some variables. One thing I like to do when I'm modifying a template that somebody else gave me is kind of leave that logic as it is if I'm doing something different, and just connecting the logic outward. So I would just connect and next. And now that we looked at this and we're completely aware of like, it's just setting some variables, nothing too complex, then we can plug something else into the outside of this. So then I would find the score, which is probably in the variables. And as we can see, it's in the top level variables here. So if we get that variable, we know what our score is. And then let's just say, what do we want? A select node? Yeah, for texture 2D. So let's fully just build a prototype of this. And we'll put this title on the head tracker as well. We don't need this to, oh. Okay, that works. So we would probably follow some of this game end logic where we turn it on, we change the size of it. Maybe we even do a transit by time to like scale it up to introduce it. And this will be our title. And then we would set texture. And we would pull from this list. So all we would have to do is plug in this index, and how we want to calculate that index would be, well, we could do a bunch of if statements if we want, if it's like a complicated number of values, but I would like to say, so yeah, let's go with your actual example. If it's greater than 80, right? Then was that like actually logic select, sorry. Because we're not executing anything, we're just selecting values. So then if it's higher than 80, then, if it's higher than 80, then we want to grab, well, then we'll plug in another logic select and do another one of these. And so we have 3 values. We basically have lowest value, above 80, and then above 100. So if it's not even above 80, then we'll give it index 0. And then if it is above 80, we can give it index 1. And then if it's even above 100 also, then we can give it index 2. And this is kind of, this is the type of logic, you can look at it right now. It might look a little confusing, but you really have to just say, like, you just have to read it out loud, like words wise, like, okay, if the score is greater than 80, then we pull it from a different value. You follow the line back to this logic select. And this can be a good way to like define your hard numbers. Like you want it above 80, above 100. Otherwise, if they're even numbers, like if it's 50, 100, 150, then you could probably just do some math to change the score into your index. And so what this will do is when you beat the score, like you see the index right now is 0. If I get a score of 80 or higher, you'll see that this index value change and it'll select a different texture. We could try that, but I'm pretty bad at math. No. Okay. Oh shit. No. Okay. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. This is hard. It's such a fast game. Okay. At one point in time, I just had the answers all just kind of memorized. Oops. 9 squared. Okay. Oh. So the score is The score is 6. Oh, the score itself is an index. I'm sorry. Because these numbers are just images. Um, I totally forgot that. Sorry. So then you would just change these values. So then if you know it's going by 20s, then 6 is 100. So we would actually say 6 here. And then for this, it would be more like 4. But you could see the score changed, and then it would be greater than this. Yeah.
Uh,
See, okay. Here's the. It's 1, and if you wanted it to be like if it's 100 or greater, you would just change this greater than to a greater, equal, or greater, yeah. And that would be how you get different textures. Is
sounds
that
good. I think that was a great answer. Let me try this and let me know if you guys have any more questions. But another question that we received from the Discord channel is they want to do 3 randomizers with the same assets. You know, like a slot machine, maybe they have a bunch of different fruits and you want them to land on the same thing. So they want to have 3 randomizers running at the same time, but they don't know how to create that. Can you help us with that, August?
Yeah, sure. Let's is this, yeah, they're probably talking about the randomizer template then, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we could go to that. Um, randomizer 2D. This might be one of our oldest templates that's been updated many times, and people keep using it. It's awesome.
Very popular.
Okay, so when we take a look at the randomizer, you just have to realize this subgraph is created so that it's so easy uh, to just use it. If you're a beginner, you just add your texture sequence, and then you can automatically just change these values, and you don't have to touch anything. If you want to modify it, there are a couple extra things you have to do, and we've tried to make that easier in current versions, where we highlight these orange boxes wherever there's a reference to something. Like I mentioned before, the reference is just anytime that there's a node that's directly linked to an object or an asset. So you'll see this opacity is linked to this title object. So if you made 2 randomizers, you would want to, well, you'd probably want to just duplicate this whole thing, and this face image, it's basically the face binding. You would want to switch it to another one, or if you want it to be on a different person. Otherwise, you would keep it 0, and you would probably not even create a second face image if you're just putting it on one person's face, which it sounds like that's what we're actually doing. So then I would honestly, I would kind of parent them like this, and then so that you can move them together, and then you'll just move the title and the and the other title, and then you can kind of drag them together without separating them. That's one little tip I always do. Notice one is working and the other's not. That's because we have the logic plugged into one reference of them. So what we've got to do is duplicate. So I'll just do a Command D. And then notice that these triggers are plugged in. Now, if you want, you can plug them into a sequence, or you could just duplicate those as well. It all basically works the same. And then we can dive into this randomizer. And we can go to every place that there's a reference. And notice that all of the variables in here are subgraph variables. And we did that so that when you duplicate it, they're tied specifically to this subgraph. And so you don't have to like remake second variables and stuff like that. It's pretty nice. So set visibility. So for this one, we see that there's an orange box around it. So we just have to change it from the top one to the new bottom one. And one tip for this whole thing is you probably, it would make it easier to just like change the name. So you can clearly see that you're selecting a different object, like title 2. Yeah, I always try to remind people to name their objects in a way that's like noticeable. Okay, so title, opacity. So then we go to our title 2 because we want the new title and we want to set opacity. And we'll just make sure all the values are the same. So value 1. So this is where we're turning the opacity to 1. And we can replace it and boot this guy out of there. We don't need it. And if you want, and this is something I would do if I was working with this template, I would delete the comment boxes as I replace them, so to keep track of which ones I've already replaced. Opacity for the title again. So we'll do the same thing, set opacity. This time our value is going to be set by this other node. And then it's not plugged into anything. It's kind of just a thing that we do on the side. And then let's see, down here, random sequencer object. So we want to change this to random sequencer 2. That's all we have to do. And then only 2 more spots. This one we have to change to random sequencer 2 as well. It changes the set visibility. And then this last one, the target here, we also want to change to random sequencer 2. And then I think that's everything. And as you can see, they're both fading out and both randomizing. And they should land on different things. Let's see. Because they're using random values. That's so interesting. They're pulling random values into subgraph variables, but they're getting the same random value. That's so interesting. I've never... that's something to definitely check out. I'm curious. But that should be the whole thing. I'm curious why it pulls the exact same random value into different subgraph variables, but we can look into that, I guess. Yeah. I think if I were to try to think of a way to make it, to force it to be random, I would just maybe recreate this stop frame variable. So I'd create a new one just to make sure that it's not somehow linked to the old one. So I'll just call it this, set variable, and but we should definitely follow up on this.
Do you think duplicating the texture sequence itself would help?
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. I'm so sorry. That's what's going on. So the main thing with the newer images and newer animation sequences is that each of these textures, animated textures, is its kind of its own asset, its own instance. So even though you have everything different in the subgraphs, when you have this animated texture player and it's acting on this animated texture, essentially, since both of these are using the same animated texture, it's playing, it's basically playing the other one and pausing the other one. So yeah, in the old one, every time that you added an animated texture to the scene, they're kind of their own thing. But now it's the difference is where they're when they're in the asset panel. So we have to duplicate this. So we have a second one. And then on our random sequencer 2, we just want to make sure that it's using a separate one. And then it'll automatically, as long as you replace it in the hierarchy, it'll automatically replace it here because it's pulling from the scene object and it's getting that animated texture from the scene object. Yeah, thanks. Great catch, Celine.
Yeah, and I think Carol is showing my screen at the moment, but I would also like to show people a quick, easy way to get around it that I discovered using interactions. I think this would be less random than what August just suggested. So if you want to do it in a way that is like more formal and official, definitely listen to what August is saying. But if you just want to have something super easy, what I like to do is let me delete all of the texture sequences so that you guys can easily follow along from the beginning. Let's say I have a brand new project. All I did was here, I right clicked here, add import, and added this texture sequence that's been added. And this is my texture sequence. It rolls over like this. I just simply duplicate this 3 times. I import a under face effects. I go to face stickers and add an image. But alternatively, if you just want to have it as a 2D image, just a part of the scene without it being on your face, you can do that. Go under the image and select the texture sequence that you just selected. And I'm also going to duplicate this 2 times and spread it out like this. So this one goes over here. And then I'm going to change this one under the texture sequence 1, change this one as texture sequence 2. So until now, they're just randomizing, there's no stopping, but this is where the magic happens. If you go under the video icon and under add interactions, you can tap screen to play animated texture and delay pause. So this is basically a randomizer subgraph. But if you look underneath here, you can select an order in which it's going. So select one as random, go to the second texture sequence, add interaction, tap screen, but change this order to ping pong or forward or something else. And the last texture sequence, go under interactions, do the same thing, but select this one as a different mode, maybe shuffle. Now, in this case, you can see that once I've restarted the effect and tapped the screen, it would randomly generate and then it would land on different things. So this is another hack if you don't want to build the entire randomizer thing from scratch. But I think you going and using August's method, it definitely has more opportunities for you to control, like maybe trigger something based on your results, or be able to re-import and modify the subgraphs. So I think August's project still has value, but if your goal is just to create 3 randomizers or 4 randomizers, this is another easy way that you can do it. So hope that was helpful. I think I saw some comments on the YouTube channel. Let's go back to August's screen share. Perfect. That's our final question of the day. But so Mike Blackhat said, could you, oh, that's a long project. Aaron is saying, as someone who isn't very familiar with the coding experience and who doesn't know how to code and doesn't have much experience on line coding, what would be the best way to get their head around how to link visual patches in the graph editor? I think what August proposed earlier about looking into a sample template and exploring the subgraph is a great way to learn. August, do you have any advice?
Yeah, actually, a couple times last year, I posted some YouTube videos explaining the concept of a game loop, an update loop, and I think that's like probably the biggest, most important thing to wrap your head around with node development, because that kind of gives you this kind of way of thinking about how these nodes are connected and the order that they do things, and then like what they're doing and what they're outputting, what they're inputting. So you kind of understand it. It doesn't look like a bunch of like static things that are just connected in weird patterns. It's like, okay, now I can see that this thing happens over a period of time, and then it goes down, this start goes down here, and it's like a flow. It's a way of thinking about it where everything's flowing into the next thing. And then you can kind of you can conceptualize like the order things are happening, and you can kind of look backwards in the logic if something is happening different than you thought it was. So it allows you to get into this mindset where you can debug and figure things out on your own. And once you get there, then you can figure anything out. So many things I've figured out just from experimenting, just from like picking through the complex logic and just like putting in little things like a peak node. The peak node is golden. It just tells you whatever the value is. So you can just like watch it at a specific time that you thought something was going to happen just to verify. Okay, so that value goes up to 1.5, like for instance, something like that. But yeah, I would say just wrap your head around that whole thing about what an update node is and how the green signals are triggering each of these nodes to do something. And if you want, I can link that YouTube video. I know a lot of people commented saying it was very helpful. Maybe I can link that after the channel,
Yeah.
after the stream.
Sounds fantastic. Final question of the day. Mike Blackhat is asking, could you show us what it takes to make a 3-digit score? And I think this is talking about your score microjam project, August. If you go to my screen share, Carol, this is where you can find and download the project. Here you go. In the library, if you go to effecthouse.tiktok.com/learn/library, that's a lengthy URL. But if you go here, as I told you earlier, here is where you can see all of the microjam projects. Scoreboard is over here. If you click on this, it downloads the file. But if you want to read more into it, you can click and actually go read stuff. But if you go under here, you can see all of the assets, including the cat hat head occluder, which I know a lot of people have been asking about. So definitely go try out this channel. Also, you can go to template tutorials. So we have a lot of useful templates that were either created by us or an external creator. And you should be able to find how to use the templates over here. So definitely check out the library section. But under the microjam projects, I think August wrote a lengthy article about how everything is built and why everything is built. So I think from this, you should be able to build a 3-score project. But I think he also included a bonus subgraph that has 3. So maybe you can use this to create your effect. August, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think yeah, the bonus subgraphs are really nice. Like this one will hide any digit like before it reaches that denomination or that magnitude. I guess for a quick thing, you can just turn any of these numbers off. So if you wanted to do a 3-number thing, I would just turn the thousands value off and shift them over however you want. And then you would just do math to display those 3 numbers. So like if you're trying to add 20 score, you would just increase the step value to 20, and then every time you want to add that 20 score, you would just click trigger the increase score. Oh yeah, sorry, I was sharing my screen. But yeah, you can just hide the thousands is the short version of that.
Mm-hmm. So we hope that was helpful. Devsep, I saw you join. So glad to see your face. Although we're just ending. But before we go, please let us know in the comments what your choice of weapon would be in an apocalyptic scenario. I still haven't received answers from some of you, and I would love to know. Let's all survive the zombie apocalypse together. A lot of people actually said katana. Aaron said staple gun, which I thought was hilarious. Aaron says some organizing of zombies to do.
12-foot tall, giant spiked hamster ball.
Are you talking about one of those like transparent plastic bubbles where you can just like roll in it like this?
Yeah, they'll never get me.
I think that is a fantastic idea. All you need to do is not get bit, right? So maybe I'll wear one of those like steel armors that people used to wear in the olden days. They'll never fight through that.
Wear one of those police padded police suits where they train dogs with them.
Don't you haven't you seen a zombie movie though, August? They always come off at a crucial moment and they get hit by the second, and I can't think of anything else who can. So
Or right as I'm getting the sniffles and I'm taking it off to rub Ben Gay on my chest, that's when they'll get me.
they're just waiting for you to just smear medicine. But everybody, please let us know. I would love to know. As always, it was lovely having you, August. I hope you have a great, fantastic rest of your day. Keep creating. Yay.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for watching, everyone.
House live. Yay. Office hours. Bye.